We are so excited today to welcome a guest to the show from the great sport of weightlifting, because it's been a while since we've spoken to somebody from weightlifting. And our guest today, Commonwealth Games silver medalist, Oceania record holder, and the current number one ranked Oceanic weightlifter, I should say. I was about to say wrestler. I was going in the wrong sports there. Too many W's in his category. And he's on the plane to Paris in a couple of weeks' time to make his debut at the Olympics. It's a pleasure to welcome to the show Kyle Bruce, or Bruce Almighty, wherever you want to start with him. Kyle, mate, welcome to Off the Podium. It's a pleasure to have you.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
So pumped. I mean, how are your wrestling skills? If I had have just absolutely stuffed up and gone with the wrestling route, any skills in wrestling that you might have?
I probably wouldn't have said anything, to be honest. No, I can't wrestle for at all. That's it. I watch a bit of MMA. That's it.
That counts. I was going to say if Jaden Lawrence is listening, he shouldn't be too scared then going into Paris. But
he can go.
He'll go. We'll talk a little bit off air, obviously, just about some certain things. But one thing I actually just want to start before we get through your journey in terms of the sport. Like, we're talking, just over a month away from the Olympics. I mean, how you feel? How do you like getting introduced now as an Olympian? I mean, are you sort of used to hearing those words and gets you a bit more excited every time you hear it?
Yeah, it's been different. I've been chasing that for a while. Obviously, the qualification process for weightlifting was quite long. It was 18 months, lots of international competitions like that. So we did put a lot into it. So it is pretty rewarding hearing people say that now, and it's kind of surreal, but I'm happy with it. But yeah, feeling good. We're leaving out in about a month and a bit now. So we're ramping up training a bit more now. We're doing double sessions. We're training 4 or 5 hours a day, which is good. So things are starting to pick up, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm enjoying the process. I'm just living through the process. That's it.
I love kind of just hearing the training processes from all our guests, and just obviously you get closer and closer to an event like an Olympics. I'm sure it changes. So when you're saying 4 or 5 hours a day, is that 7 days a week? Do you get a day off, or is it just purely every day from here to the Olympics?
Going into a big comp like Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, even like a World Championships, I usually don't do any rest days. Like, it'll be an active recovery day. So I'm training Monday through to Sunday. I think the only easy day would be a Sunday, which would still be some squats, some accessories, some stretching like that. So I'm still training, but yeah, normal split would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, double sessions. So we'll do 2-hour practice in the morning, 3.5 hours at night. And then obviously just Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, Sunday single sessions, which are just 2-hour training sessions like that. So yeah, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
No rest for the wicked when you've got an event like an Olympics to get ready for. That's
that's it, man. What more incentive is there, right? So may as well try and put everything we have into training so we can get the best outcome. I think for me, it's just looking back on this period of time, but even post Olympics, regardless of the result, and just going, you know what, I did everything I could into this prep, and I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? So that's really important to me. I don't want to look back and go, man, I could have trained a little bit harder here. I was a bit lazy here. I didn't put enough effort here like that. I just want to look back and go, I did every single thing I bloody could. Done,
Yeah, and then they're kind of reflecting that, which I've recently started going to the gym a lot more than I used to. And I always love it when you go to a gym and there are people around you and you sort of, you see people of all different shapes, sizes, and people doing their things. But I always love like the guys and they're really doing the weights, right? Like, they're stacked, they're pumped. I'm looking at them going like, wow, like, I feel very small right now. But like, do weightlifters even shine over those guys? Like, I mean, you're there impressively on these bars doing this all these days. Or even, are those guys looking at you like I'm looking at them, basically going like, damn?
Well, probably not, to be honest. Most weightlifters are quite deceiving. We don't really look the part, really. I mean, we got strong lower backs, legs, shoulders like that, but we don't really look super crazy strong like we train all the time. I think it's kind of hidden a little bit, but yeah, I think you'd be surprised. You see a weightlifter, majority of the time you see their body and you'd be like, oh yeah, they look all right, and then you look at the weights and it's like, damn. You know what I mean? So
actually seeing what they're lifting, yeah. There might be my weightlifters at my gym then I might not even know.
Yeah, literally, that's it. I mean, you see like CrossFitters and bodybuilders, and they absolutely outsize us. And then you got us and like, oh, they lift. Oh, okay. Oh, he's going to the Olympics. That's our guy. Oh.
But on the flip side of that, when people find out that you are a weightlifter, do they kind of like size you up a bit and go, oh, I could outlift you. Come on, mate. Like, look at you. And then you just go, yeah, come on, let's give it a go.
Honestly, no, not really. I've never had anyone really like kind of one up me or anything like that. Like, I think everyone's always super respect. I think people see me train, and they know like how much I put into it and what I do. So I feel like people have good respect for that. I mean, I haven't really trained at like a gym where there's that situation, Like, because I usually just train in my home, so I'm not really exposed to anything like that. Or if I'm training at my normal weightlifting gym, everyone does weightlifting, so everyone gets it. You know what I mean? It's like if I was at a gym where it was just like bodybuilders or CrossFitters or whatever, maybe, but no, I've never usually had that. And sometimes I'll go out to a CrossFit gym and just max out, and I'll get all the CrossFitters like, whoa, like that. And that's pretty fun. Like, I like doing that. It gives me a good ego.
You might have some fun at the Olympic Village where, the athletes spotting, right? Like being able to, try and guess what sport they are. And they might be doing the same for you, not realize you're a weightlifter. And then, hey, there you go.
Hey, maybe it's badminton. We don't know.
Exactly. You never know. You never know how competitive that. I love your journey though, Kyle, to get to where you are, and obviously, get to an Olympics, because you didn't initially start in weightlifting. You dabbled in a few different sports growing up. I believe you did a bit of athletics, swimming, and even gymnastics growing up before obviously a rugby sort of career took off for a little bit. But I mean, what was it about those sports when you were younger that sort of led you to trying them?
I think just like, I mean, any Aussie kid growing up, like it's so common to want to do little A's when you're younger, in summer, and then in winter either play soccer, rugby, or something like that. Gymnastics was good for me year round because it was good for flexibility. It was good for learning a new skill, getting skill acquisition, and plus, what kid doesn't want to do gymnastics, right? It's so fun, you know what I mean? So I was doing gymnastics for a long time, probably like 6-7 years, and then I was playing rugby from like the age of 9. I was doing athletics pretty much my whole since weightlifting started kicking off like that. Done triathlons, cycling, tried indoor track cycling, didn't really like it, got scared I was going to fall off the bike. Swimming, obviously. Yeah, man, I like so many sports. Sports just huge. Like, it's just always been something that's huge in my family. So I've always done that. But yeah, we had a bit of a stint at rugby before we got into weightlifting. We got to like an okay-ish level, sort of Sydney versus country, New South Wales merit squad sort of thing like that. Could see a potential in rugby, but in the future. And then, decided that I wanted to get better at weightlifting to put on some muscle mass, get a little bit stronger, more powerful in the rucks, mores, etc. for weightlifting, and never went back. Here we are.
Well, the one thing I noticed, of course, with all of those sports, they're all Olympic sports. So was there any, can I connect the dots there, where you growing up watching the Olympics, dreaming of an Olympics? Or
I did. Yeah, no, I do. I've got vivid memories of watching Beijing, London, watching gymnastics. I even was watching a little bit of the weightlifting at Beijing. I remember actually I was sitting down on the couch and watching that. But yeah, when I was heavy into gymnastics, even because triathlons were there, obviously, cycling like that. Yeah, any time the Olympics is on, I'd always be watching it. Everything, even sports that I had no idea about. I watched the Winter Olympics, things like that. Just love sport, Love
hearing that. I love the winter. I mean, we're big winter fanboys and girls on this show, so
Yeah, 100%.
Would you on that?
Stephen Bradley, my man.
Oh, absolutely. Would you give a crack to any winter sports? Have you ever tried your hand at skiing or snowboarding or anything like that?
A lot of weightlifters, some of them transition over to I think Tia Claire Toomey went over to what's it called? What's that one called? Toboggan? No.
Oh, like bobsled?
Bobsled. That's what it is.
Bobsled. There we go. Yeah. Yes.
I love winter sports. Can't you tell?
Clearly. That's why the next 30 questions are all going to be on your favorite winter sports, Kyle. So looking forward to it.
No, bobsledding, maybe. I don't know. But it seems pretty dangerous.
Well, the beauty of the Winter Olympics we talked a lot about in Beijing the other year is that every sport at the Winter Olympics, I think, except for curling, can kill you. I mean, you could probably die in curling if you just lay there and let one of those stones hit you in the head. But,
right.
No disrespect to our summer Olympians. I've obviously got one on the show, but I could probably say a good third of those aren't going to kill you. So
that's right. Yeah, that's fair.
Unless you're doing it really wrong. Like, I mean, I don't know how some people out there, archery might be. Just don't stand in front of the target. You probably will die. But
yeah, that's a good point.
You're doing something wrong there. But I mean, you touched on that rugby side of things. You did okay, as you kind of said there. I mean, junior Waratahs, doing quite well in that. But when it came to obviously improving your weightlifting, because obviously I know I'll touch on just sort of the story about why that transition came in fully into weightlifting, but how does weightlifting help in rugby? Like, help some naive person like myself who is from Tasmania, who follows Australian football more than rugby. So this might be a dumb question, Kyle, but like weightlifting, how does that help a rugby athlete?
Yeah, so obviously in rugby, we need to be powerful, we need to be explosive, tackling, scrummaging, line outs, etc. It's all about power development. Being quick on your feet for tackles, obviously going down into the breakdown, etc. So having that power base was really important. So a lot of people that play rugby will do Olympic lifting in their training programs to facilitate that power development. So for me, it made sense to learn the Olympic lifts, get better at them technically. One, so I could put on more muscle mass, and two, so I could generate more power, which would translate into my rugby. So that was the overall goal, and that's what my strength conditioning coach told me at the time. So obviously, I just said to him, you know what, I'm just going to seek this out on because we would train 3-4 times a week at the time. We're at my Colts club in Randwick. The days that I was off, I said, okay, I'm going to go to my local police EYC. I'm going to go, there's a weightlifting club there, which is the club I'm still at today with the same coach. So I'm going to go down there. I'm going to learn weightlifting the days that I'm not training. So, is that okay? And he's like, yeah, that's going to be great. Do that 100%, because then you'll get the technique. You get a little bit more personalized for people. Obviously, they understand the sport more than I do. I'm just a strength conditioning coach. Like I still understand the sport, but they have a more deeper understanding. So went and did that. And then, I think within the second week, my coach at the top, current coach, still Ali Zari, said to me, look, in sparing English, you have a good potential. You can do big things in this sport. I see a good talent. I want you to do weightlifting. And I was like, well, okay, all right, I trust you. So I went there. That's it.
And then the rest of this, you touch on Ali, Olympian himself, Barcelona
Yep.
for Iran. So,
that's right.
I mean, did you kind of listen to a lot of his stories about the Olympics? Or did he tell a lot of stories about it? And that does give you a bit of an inspiration when it comes to that ultimate decision when you do transition into weightlifting, that this could be achievable?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like with Ali's understanding of the sport, his knowledge, being an Olympian, Asian game champion, medalist like that, he just has so much understanding of weightlifting, especially in a different block as well. Like we're not in Australia, it's obviously being in Iran, so a completely different system. Weightlifting and volleyball is like, like your idols, you're idolized over there. You know what I mean? It's like our swimming and our rugby. It's just different over there. Full government support. Everyone looks up to them like that. So he comes from that system, and I think just him having that instilled knowledge, and also just hey, you can do this. To me was very driving for me to be like, okay, well, I'm going to give this a go.
And I love you shared a post back around, I think, the Tokyo Olympics, and you shared sort of some photos of Ali at the Barcelona Olympics, and you posted, you said, found some archives of coach at the Barcelona Olympics, and then at the end you end it with, one can only imagine the feeling of being on the Olympic stage, which fast forward now, in a few weeks' time, you will be. I mean, at that point when you sort of posted that, it was like Olympics like this, you're looking at your coach, you're looking at this, and you're thinking like, this is achievable at that point?
At that point, that was around Tokyo time. I was pretty bummed that I wasn't going to Tokyo. The thing is, it wasn't that I expected to make Tokyo. I started training sort of end of 2016, start of 2017. Weightlifting is a long game. It takes a while to develop technique and position, speed, etc. So it wasn't something that was sort of on our bucket list that we were thinking about. But at the time when Tokyo was happening, I was hitting respectable weights. I could have been there. Like I could have been at Tokyo representing Australia. I had the record potential. It's just I didn't do it in the qualification period, because obviously weightlifting takes time and it's a big qualification, etc. like that. So I think at the time I was putting it up on socials, and I was like, man, like I was kind of bummed about that. But also putting my coach up there as well motivated me to go, you know what? There's another Olympics around the corner. We're in a good position now. We just got to stay healthy and organize things. Let's tick off Commonwealth Games, and then we'll go for that big one. So yeah.
And 3 years, obviously, between Tokyo and Paris, a little bit of a closer window than
that's true. Yeah, that's true. It has gone pretty quickly. Yeah, that's it.
The transition that went full-time into weightlifting, sadly you lose your father, and the motivation for rugby kind of transitions into that. Could you, like, sort of with all the effort that you put into rugby and obviously the passion that you had, let's play the card here. Your father's still with us. Rugby took a different direction. Would we be talking to you today potentially, Kyle, as a rugby sevens Olympian? Was the goal like the Wallabies? Like, kind of where did you see that path going in rugby had that continued?
Yeah, professional rugby was definitely where I was aiming towards. We were always aiming towards that, both of us together. So we'll definitely pushing. That was sort of the goal. That's why we're playing Colts, and then hopefully we're going to play grade, and then maybe go and play NRC and then Super Rugby. So that was always sort of like where we're aiming towards. Or if that didn't work out, link up some clubs maybe in Japan, France, like that. It was always that sort of goal. But then obviously, when my dad passed away, it was crazy, man. Like I just had this feeling, I just had this empty feeling, and I lost all passion for rugby. I can't explain it. Like I woke up one day, and I was just like, I don't like doing this anymore. And that's not like me because I'm such a passionate kid, especially with sport, and at the age of 16, I just woke up and I was like, I don't like playing rugby anymore. Like it just feels, it's crap. I don't enjoy it. It makes me sad. It brings back bad memories. It just doesn't make me feel, it was our thing, So when he was gone, it was just like, damn, like this just doesn't feel right. And I've never had that experience in my life. Like I've never done something for so long. Like I was playing rugby for 11 years at the time. To go and just wake up one day and go, I don't like this anymore. Like I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. It was hard, But weightlifting was a new outlet for me. It was something different. It was a new skill acquisition to acquire. It was something that was challenging, but also exciting, So I tried that out, and I don't regret it. But I do always think like that, I do think like, hey, like maybe if my father was still around, I was still playing rugby, would I be in a better financial point now? would I be potentially playing for the Wallabies, playing Super Rugby? Would there be, Tri-Nations, etc.? Like, would there be something different? Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
It's sliding doors moments, isn't it? That you kind of always have these moments in life where there are what ifs. Not to kind of continue on this trend we'll change the topic in a bit, Carl, but like I lost my mother several years ago, and I often do a similar thing. Like, had she been around, where would I be in life? Like, I don't think I'd be where I am right now, and experiences of the last few years would be completely different, because I've heard you talk about your dad in a similar way with my mum. She was my best friend too. So it's kind of like you don't know, right? And it's tricky to kind of reflect on it multiple years. Yeah, and it's sort of do that. But on the flip side of that though, like, I can imagine that when you were sort of progressing or doing this weightlifting to progress your rugby, that it's one of these moments where I don't know if it ever crossed your mind until maybe Ali's whispering in your ear sweet nothings that like the first day you went to that weightlifting gym, you would have not been thinking, in like a few years I'll be in Olympic Games doing this, right? Like it never would have crossed your mind, I imagine.
No way. I literally, like I said, I just went there to get better for my rugby on my off days, and just to keep training because I love training, you know what I mean? And and like I said, in the second week, my coach is whispering into my ears, like, you've got an opportunity. I see talent when I see it, and I'm not saying it's sort of like, hype you up or give you a big ego or anything like that. But I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen many people, and I see potential. If you want to commit to this, I'll commit to you, but I need full commitment on your end. So yeah. And
he was obviously right, because if I'm not mistaken, when you decided to do this full time, within only a couple of months, you were wearing the green and gold.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, qualified for my first team. I started, so I was training end of 2016. I was kind of just dabbling into it with the rugby strength and conditioning. I was still doing weightlifting, but I wasn't doing like a proper Olympic weightlifting facilitated program by a proper coach like Ali. But then start of 2017, so January like that's when I started doing that. And then, qualified for my first Australian team in June. So 6 months later, 6 months later. To be fair, though, I mean, I'm just going to be honest here. It wasn't a hard qualification for a team. Australian weightlifting, still to this day, I believe, at a youth junior level, isn't very competitive. So I didn't think it was a super, like, I was excited to qualify for Australian team, but also I didn't even hit the qualification standard. I remember my total was 235 at nationals, which qualified me to 235 kilogram combined total, 100 kilo snatch, 135 clean jerk. The qualification total was like 255. So I was 20 kilos below that, yet I qualified because they just wanted more participation. And we didn't have many athletes doing weightlifting at the time. So it was good. I was very happy and excited, but I also didn't even hit the standard. So it's kind of like, and that's sort of the situation weightlifting Australia is in at the moment. It's like, how do we increase participation but not make it too hard and unrealistic for people to achieve things, but also we make it easy enough to get more people out there. So, you know what I mean? So at the time I was excited, but also I remember Ali said, you didn't hit the total though. So I was like, I don't know. And he goes, okay, well now we're going to train even harder. So you hit the total and more at this competition. So we show them that it wasn't just luck, and we did, which was good. So
is the reason behind that down to what you're saying about representation? We need to get the people involved in the sport. So if we've got a quota at a major event, even if we're not hitting the standard, we still need to go to show that Australian weightlifting is still out there on the world stage.
100%. And that competition was the Commonwealth and Oceania Championships, which was in Gold Coast 2017. So it was a home competition. So it was very important that we had lots of athletes from Australia there. Man, there was everyone there. Like that was probably the biggest comp I've ever done. Still to this day,
Wow.
it was maybe not like Commonwealth Games Olympic level, but like a home competition. There were so many athletes there, like youths, juniors, seniors. Like just there was like 2 youth teams, 2 junior teams, 2 senior teams, another 2 senior. It was a massive, massive competition. But yeah, I think it's that balance between we want participation, but also we don't want to make the standards too difficult to achieve that we're not encouraging participation. But then we run into a spanner where it's like, well, then the quality of weightlifting isn't improving. So it's a hard thing. And that's kind of what Australian weightlifting is going through at the moment. It's kind of like a reform. It's like we're trying to increase the standard, but even nationals, which under 23 and junior nationals that just happened 2 weeks ago, there was 2 sessions, 1 female, 1 male session. That's it. For the whole nationals, usually there's 7 or 8 sessions, because they've driven the standards up. So obviously participation is still there, but the qualification hasn't been as much. So it's a tricky debate. It's like, what do we do here? What do we do? So
are there steps that you're seeing to improve this, particularly ahead of Brisbane? Because obviously we're 8 years removed from a home Olympics, and I know all sports have kind of got their own plans in place to, improve the level and perform at the highest level at a home Olympics. But are you seeing those steps being implemented at the moment?
I am seeing those steps, and I have. It's been for a long time. The Coffers are now back. I'm not sure if you know that. Paul Coffer, Lily Coffer, like that. They're involved heavily in Australian weightlifting, and they've always been involved in Australian weightlifting, 80s, 90s, like that. They went away for a bit, but they've come back now. With obviously Eileen Chickapatana, who will be the lifter for the 81 kilo class. So that's her personal coaches for obviously, but they're heavily involved now in the Australian weightlifting high performance side of things. So they're trying to drive standards up, which is good. Like it's increasing performance in that. But again, there's that debate about participation. Like how, what are we doing for participation? What are we doing for people that can't actually achieve those standards? So they are putting in those procedures for Brisbane, I believe, which is good. But I also wonder, like, is it going to be too much to make not enough people want to do weightlifting? So it's tough. Yeah, it's tough because we want results, right? Realistically, we want medals at Brisbane. Like that's what weightlifting needs. That's what the AOC needs. That's what we need to keep getting funding provided for us to continue training. So if we're not getting the medals at that elite level, then what can we do, right? So
it's always just those swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's getting there and everything, and people are deep down always expecting medals. We were having a bit of a chat about things like that off air, and I mean, I think weightlifting in this country in the Olympics, of course, Dean Lucan comes to mind. Like that's the one that most people in Australia would think about when it comes to weightlifting in this country. But I actually completely forgot during my research that we actually last medaled in Atlanta in weightlifting. Stefan Botev won, of course, a bronze in Atlanta, and that's one that always slips my mind. So it's not like this is a sport that, like wrestling, we haven't medaled in like 100 years. And I'm not here to shit. I feel like I'm shitting all over wrestling. I'm not trying to. That's not my intention. But it's a sport that we haven't medaled in like a century, whereas weightlifting, it's in our lifetimes that we have at least medaled in. So I can imagine that should you or any of your teammates or anybody achieve a medal, obviously it's going to put it on the stage, but it's obviously getting to that level where that can be possible, which is sort of that balance.
Yeah, it's that grey area. It's that hard. Yeah, exactly. And I hope like this is the thing. Like Eileen has got a really good opportunity at these games to win a medal. I mean, I think she's ranked 5th in the qualification ranking. So me and Jackie are ranked 11th, 12th. She's ranked 5th. So she's got the best opportunity probably to get a medal. So if she has a great performance, she can definitely do that. And like I said, that's going to be great going into Brisbane. That's more funding. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a bronze, it's still funding, So hopefully she can get a good result with that, Yeah.
This is why we get you on the show too, so you can actually pronounce Eileen's last name correctly, because I think I butchered it about 50 times on this show whenever I've talked about her. So thank you.
I think everyone has, Yes. Chickapatana, that's it.
Yeah, keep saying, because that's why I just say Kyle Bruce. I can say that pretty well.
It's hard to say, right?
Because I have a terrible track record of pronouncing names on this show, Kyle. So it's that way. I mean, the beauty thing that I love about weightlifting, there are very few sports at the Olympics in which your target is something that what you've got to get and are constantly working towards, and that's where those 5 hour sessions are going to. So I use that as an example of if you are trying to hit a certain weight, right? Your current record weight, you know, okay, well, I need to lift another 20 kilos, 10 kilos more than this. So you're working towards that goal. It's like a high jumper. They know that their highest is 2.05 meters. I'm aiming for 2.10 meters, and you're constantly working for that target. Very few sports at the Olympics where you just have that absolute defined goal that you know where you can be better by getting to that. Is that like make it extra challenge? Like you compare that to rugby, where the goal of rugby is to win a game, keep winning games, win a championship, things like that. Whereas weightlifting, you're always setting your target on that next weight. So how do you find that sort of transition and like the mental preparedness that brings when it comes to just being so focused on being able to go better than what your record lift is?
Yeah, 100%. It's tough because it's like, obviously I know what I need to be lifting to be in medal contention, to be sort of competitive at these games. So it's like, I know where I need to be aiming towards, but then also you got to know what I can achieve realistically, or what I've done in the past realistically right now. So is that in line with where I need to be? And then also having that realization, that realisticness to be like, okay, no, I can't do that. That's too far ahead of me, and that's me going into these games. If I want to be in that medal contention, I'm going to have to be throwing around 175 snatch, probably 212, 215 clean and jerk like that. My honest going into these games, if I can throw a high 150 snatch, 160 like that, clean jerking around 200, like 201, 202, like I'm a happy camper, because that is realistic for what I can achieve. That would be new personal records, new oceanic records, Commonwealth records. Like I would be stoked with that. And I'm realistic with that. And that would still give me potentially a top 6, top 7, top 8, overall performance if everything goes to plan, which would be awesome. Like that would be a great result for a male-born Australian athlete going to the Olympic Games in weightlifting. So yeah, again, it's that balance between being real with yourself and being truthful versus being delusional. And I'm not delusional. I'm very realistic with what I can achieve. Like I've been training weightlifting now for 9.5 years. I know what I can do realistically. I know on the day I'm not going to magically be able to do these world record weights. It's just not realistic, And like you were saying, it's not like it's a game where we have pool games and we have the semis and the finals and we play well together. We win championships like that. It's facts. Like I need to hit these weights to achieve that. And to hit those weights, there's so much going into it,
And I love hearing that honesty with that, Kyle, because this is what we love about the Olympics is all these stories, all these, efforts. And you could walk away from Paris achieving everything that you just said you do, finish 8th, 7th, everything along those lines. And people on paper would go, oh, well, you were 7th, didn't win a medal, move on. But you could be as happy as Ariane Titmus winning 4 gold medals,
I would be, yeah. And circumstance, it's so important. Like, it's not swimming, it's not rugby. Like, swimming, how many races do something like Titmus probably has like 4 or 5 races that she can get a potential gold medal in, right? We got one event every 4 years. We had 3 lifts in the snatch, 3 lifts in the clean jerk. We probably are on the platform for a total of maybe a minute and a half tops, right? For 4 years to do that, to get 1 medal, you know what I mean? So I just feel like there's so much more into it, than that, yeah.
It's just, again, it's that raw honesty. I love hearing that. We had high jumper Eleanor Patterson on a couple of years ago, and I sort of asked a similar question. And to her, the goal is to get over a bar, right? So she's constantly looking at that. And I asked her, I'm like, do you just sometimes look at that bar and are just like, fuck you, bar. Like, I'm gonna jump you. I'm gonna beat you. And she was like, yes, like I get angry at that bar. Are you that with weight? Are you looking at the weights going like, fuck you, weight. I'm gonna lift the shit out of you. Just do as you're told and get over my fucking head.
Yeah, like I'm kind of just like, you know what, this is the weight I need to get a medal. Like I just want to put it on and try it. You know what I mean? But I'll probably really hurt myself if I do. You know what I mean? But it's the same principle, right? It's like, just do it. You know what I mean? Like how hard can it be, right? But there's so many things going into it. Like it's so much more than just the weights on the barbell. It's government support, it's funding, it's systematic doping. It's there's so many things going into the Olympic Games that people aren't aware of at home, that are just sitting and viewing the product, which they're going to see on the 7th of August, which I think everyone's going to love. But behind the scenes of that product, what goes into it, the injuries, the cortisone injections, the regular visits with sports doctors, the ingrained politics in the sport, the corruption at the highest level, no one sees that, no one sees that. It's hard.
All the navigation. There needs to be like a Netflix, like a Drive to Survive style documentary.
There kind of was, though.
There
kind of was. There was, I don't know if you heard of Icarus.
No.
It went into the depth, into the deeps of Russia, and basically this person went in, found so much information that was never classified about doping. They were doing doppelgangers, swapping samples. They were passing samples through rooms and stuff. And this was just in Russia. It was for the weightlifting team, wrestling team. It was big. Icarus it's called, but it's a documentary on Netflix that goes into the details about professional sport at that elite level.
Right.
It only went into Russia, but they made Russia look like terrible people, but it's not just Russia. This is sport. There's medals at stake. This is nationalism. This is pride for these countries, right? It's a different mindset, the West versus, the East European approach, right? But yeah, Icarus went into the details of that. It's pretty eye-opening. That does not happen in Australia. I'm not saying it hasn't before, but it does not happen now.
That must be a real challenge, though, when it comes to talking to people about what you do. Being in a sport where there are questions and issues. I mean, you Google your name, as we were saying off air, and kind of what's the first thing that comes up? Sort of a Reddit post about an Instagram story that you posted about it. So does that make it challenging to, particularly in an Australian perspective, with a sport that maybe a lot of people sort of look on as not clean, not kind of, completely untainted, to get funding, get all the things that we're talking about?
Yeah, it does. It makes it incredibly difficult. It's hard to explain to people that, you got to truly be in Olympic weightlifting to understand Olympic weightlifting. If you've been in the sport long enough, you'll know it's just how it works, but to explain that to a normal person that doesn't understand that is incredibly challenging. You tell them that, no. Like in Australia, we have ASADA, we have Sports Integrity Australia, we have internal drug testing. I get drug tested 2 times out of competition every single month, 12 times a year, plus in competition tests. There's other countries, I'm not going to name names, but there's other countries that don't have those procedures. There's no internal drug testing agency. WADA can't even get into those countries because of certain political issues or certain wars and stuff that are going on right now, meaning they have an advantage. But that doesn't happen. How does that? It does happen, So it's hard. It's hard because people see that and go, aren't you just making excuses? Like, aren't you just saying, oh, they're better than you because they're doing something else? It's not like that. It's just their circumstances are different. And like I said, that Eastern versus Western approach, I feel like in Australia, I want to do weightlifting. I've got freedom. I got everything I want. Like, I love my country. I'm so patriotic. Anyone that knows me knows I love Australia, and I'm so grateful for what Australia's done for me, both in sport, business, just my life endeavors in the future, right? Other countries don't have that. It's different. It's kind of like concentration camp. Like, you do this every day, you win medal. If you don't win medal, you go back home. You're poor. Like, and I talk about this with my coach Ali because he comes from the Iranian weightlifting system, and it's over there. It's an Eastern European approach. It's you train every single day. He dropped out of school when he was 15 to go train full time in the Iranian national team. Doesn't finish his education, goes to the Olympics, does the Olympics, doesn't do well, gets booted out of the national team, comes to Australia, works as an Uber driver in a chicken factory for 10 years straight. That's what you get as an Olympian. But that's it's tough. It's really tough. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunities that I have in Australia. I obviously want to do the best I can at the elite level, but also I'm not mad that I'm not put in that situation where it's like I'm forced to do this. I don't have anything else to my name. If I don't do this, I don't bring my family out of poverty. You know what I mean? I'm doing this because I want to do it. I'm so grateful for that. And that's a big thing in weightlifting. It's a massive thing.
Which it's also important for people like yourself to be able to speak out and be honest and kind of talk about
100%.
it. Because there's a conversation
100%.
that needs to be made away there. I want to ask you, and I know you don't probably want to answer this or can answer this, I don't know, but when you're out in competition sometimes, do you just look at some of these guys that you're going up against and do you kind of just know that they're maybe on something and you're just sitting there and going like, oh, yeah, cool, right? I'm getting beaten by like 10 of these guys are on the juice, like, and just kind of deal with it?
Look, I like throwing names and stuff, but when I'm at these competitions, the weights they're lifting will say enough for me. If I know what weights they're lifting, I'm not stupid. Like, I know weightlifting. I know if these guys are hitting these weights, what's achievable without those things versus not. It's very easy for me to tell, and it should be easy for people that are weightlifting enthusiasts to tell as well. That's all I'll say.
That's all you say.
But I do feel that. Like, I do feel realistically when I'm competing against some athletes, I do feel like it is an unlevel playing field. And it does frustrate me. But again, it's my circumstances. It's the country that I'm in. Like it's just different. I always have this conversation because then people bring up, well, what about Eileen? Like Eileen's going to potentially win a medal. Are you saying Eileen doped? I'm like, no, I'm not saying that about Eileen at all. It's different for a male and a female, I think, in weightlifting. I think there's more participation in as a male in Olympic weight. There's more competition, in my opinion. I'm not saying there's no competition in female weightlifting, but it's you're not going to see a girl jab up as much as a male. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you just go to any normal bodybuilding gym, like how many girls would be using steroids versus males? So you're going to see majority of men doing that, and that's kind of what would translate into weightlifting or a sport that requires strength, right? So that's sort of like, I don't know, it's a bit
I appreciate I just have to ask. I love kind of, sometimes also putting our guests on the spot a little bit, Carl, making you a bit shifty there, but no, it's good. I like the answer, so that works. You were on the cusp of 2018 for the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. I believe you just missed out on the qualifying tournament to get to the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, that's right.
Ultimately, Birmingham happens in 2022. When it comes to sort of everything we're talking about, sort of weightlifting in this country, do some weightlifters in Australia almost target a Commonwealth Games more than an Olympics just because there's more chance of a medal? Like, if people have that mindset thinking, well, I'm not going to medal in an Olympics, so a Commonwealth Games is maybe somewhere that I want to go to rather than an Olympics? It's a weird question, absolutely. But I don't know if that's...
No, that's absolutely correct. 100%. In my experience being in the sport, everyone is more excited for a Commonwealth Games than Olympic Games because it's more realistic for athletes in Australia that do weightlifting. It's more realistic to, one, make a Commonwealth Games, two, potentially medal at a Commonwealth Games. Statistically, we get medals at the Commonwealth Games for Australia. It might not be a lot, but we get medals. We get results, which provides funding for the next Commonwealth Games. So it's always good. But yeah, I feel like as a weightlifter in Australia, I would be more excited on the thought of going to a Commonwealth Games and winning a medal, because I feel like that's going to bring more pride to myself and my country, versus knowing I'm going into the Olympics, I'm probably just there to just go and do the best I can. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard thing to deal with. And I fell into that trap. Post Birmingham, I didn't even want to try for Paris. I didn't even go to my first Olympic qualifier later that year, World Championships in 2022, because I was done. I told myself I'm finished. I don't want to do this anymore. Like I said, I've been to the Commonwealth Games. If I even make the Olympics, like, I don't know what the point is. Like, I'm not going to go there to win a medal. Like, it's just I'm in a different country. It's, like I said, different procedures, like we touched on before. It'd just be me going there to participate. What's the point? But then I kind of thought, I got the thought around being an Olympian and being a part of that process and all the work I put in to be, an elite level weightlifter in Australia. Like, I think I need to sort of, that's the cream of the crop. I need to put that on my resume that I'm an Olympian. I've been to that highest level of the sport. Like, yes, I've medaled Commonwealth Games. I've come close to getting gold medals at the Commonwealth Games. Like, I've been there, but being an Olympian just adds that further status to my name, which I think is really important for my reputation. So yeah, I made that decision. You know what? No, I'm going to try for these Olympics. And I'm grateful I did, because it worked out. And a month and a half, we can show everyone what we're capable of, which is going to be great. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Commonwealth Games is something that's probably put more focus on for athletes that do weightlifting in Australia than the Olympics. I don't think the Olympics are, I don't even want to go into details, but like, even funding, we get funding for the Commonwealth Games because we get medals. There's no funding for the Olympics. I got no funding going into these Olympics. This is all out of my own pocket. It's cost me $25,000 to get that little ticket going to Paris out of my own pocket. $25,000, like, that's just the truth. Yes, I got a little bit of funding from my federation for competitions coming to the back end, like getting full support, but no support before that. No stipend, no grants, no AIS funding, no AIC funding, no CGA, anything like that. It was all out of my own pocket, which, like I said, I'm grateful because I love weightlifting. I do it because it's a passion. I own a business. I've made a good life out of weightlifting. I'm so thankful for weightlifting because of that. But again, as well, what is the incentive for an athlete to want to try and qualify for the Olympic Games when you're getting nothing and you're getting $25K out of your pocket? How much do you want it?
And they're those ones that I think a lot of people don't understand, because they hear the words Kyle Bruce Olympian, they thinking you're getting sponsorship, they thinking that you're well off, because they think Olympian, they think, well, you're set. But no, for the majority of our Olympic team, they're doing exactly what you're saying, self-funding and everything. Do you see, like, when you're weighing up those benefits and the pros and cons and everything of that even as a business owner, that with what you do for a living, you obviously do a lot of coaching, that after Paris, you're then able to put Kyle Bruce OLY, that maybe then it's almost like a business decision to go to the Olympics, because people might look at that differently.
it literally was. And that's what I said. Like, I knew the cost to what was a potential winning, which would be getting a ticket to go to Paris. So I knew that, that would far outweigh that, because that's a lifetime thing, right? Going to the Olympics, being an Olympian, like that's
once an Olympian, always an Olympian.
And in Olympic weightlifting, there's only 68 or 69 athletes ever to make the Olympics. So it's such a small pool of people, in such a niche sport like weightlifting. So yeah, it was worth it for me. And I saw the investment, and I honestly, that's what got me through the whole qualification process, was that is my business, my status as a coach, and what I want to do post lifting. Like, obviously there'll be a time in the future where I'm not going to be able to lift as heavy. And I want to have sort of a career after that. And if I do want to, build up my business and continue coaching, which I'm doing, having an Olympian status ain't gonna hurt. You know what I mean? So, but not only that, just for myself as well. Like I said, to know that I've said, you know what, I'm Kyle Bruce, I'm Commonwealth Games medalist, been to the Olympic Games, I've achieved everything you can as a weightlifter in this country. You want to learn from me? I'll help you. So like, I feel like experience is very important. And that's kind of the reason why I took on Ali's advice so much when I was younger, because he's an Olympian, he's an Asian Games medalist. We're actually in the same boat now, just obviously different countries, obviously very, very far away. But Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, same thing,
Yeah.
Olympic Games, Barcelona, Paris, it's the same thing. We're both sort of in the same realm. So, that respect that I had for him at that age, it would make me think that hopefully, maybe someday someone could look at me like that. So, yeah.
And it's all these little moments too, like talking on the Commonwealth Games. I mean, we'll touch on what happened, and I want to talk on the opening ceremony, but it also gets that level of attention that maybe you're not getting as well, for not just for yourself but the sport, because as you said, we win medals, and obviously what happened to you in the final made quite a bit of news here in this country. So it's sort of those moments where you're all of a sudden on Channel 7, you're getting interviewed, you're appearing in the newspapers, things like that, which unfortunately in this country we're not putting weightlifters on the news or on front pages unless something's happening at an event like this. So I guess who knows what could happen in Paris, not to wish anything bad on you, but like it's going to get you some level of attention that you're not going to get outside of that.
Yep, 100%. I mean, we wouldn't know Bruce Almighty if we didn't do the Commonwealth Games.
Jim Carrey, was he in a, I don't know that, I just know the weightlifter. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, that's it. 100%. It's good. I just roll with it. That's it.
Just on that. I mean, the nickname's so obvious when you probably ask where it comes from. But like, I mean, when did that moniker first start getting put on you?
Oh, it was literally after the Commonwealth Games, with the devastating press out, loss of the silver medal to the jury review, going down to the silver from the gold. I think Eliza Barr or someone for the Daily Telegraph made a Daily Telegraph newspaper article, and it was like it was on the front of the sports section, so it was quite big, which is awesome for weightlifting, and it just had a big title saying Bruce Almighty's paying. I was like, you know what, I'm running with that.
Wow. there's some subs editor out there who's given you this nickname and you've just run with it. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm gonna run with that. It looks cool. My partner printed it out for me and put in the gym. I was like, no, that's hectic. I love that. I'm like,
love it.
What? I'll put that on
Great.
my Instagram, Bruce Almighty.
And that's literally, I think now what everybody knows you. I think even when you were announced, obviously, for the Olympics, it was Bruce. It's just stuck.
It's so funny because like my name's Kyle, obviously, but people call me Bruce, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And like that's I'm all right with that. So
as Australians, we're just like, which one's the more Australian sounding name? Bruce. And we're going to take Bruce Almighty. Bruce. Does it remind you of Finding Nemo? Hello, I'm Bruce.
Good day, mate. No, Bruce.
Fish are friends, not food. Had you even seen Bruce Almighty at that point? Were you familiar with the movie?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Wow. So you haven't even seen the movie. You still haven't seen it. Oh, Kyle, put it on the list. It's a brilliant movie. Jim Carrey, Jennifer Aniston, well worth a watch. Brilliant movie.
Done.
Very, very funny movie. So there's your viewing list on the way to Paris. Just before I get to the competition, the opening ceremony, got to ask, I know you went, the Birmingham Bull. Did you see the Birmingham Bull in person? Were you still in the... Because we love the Birmingham Bull on this show.
I did see it. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it, eh? Like when it came out, I was like, what? It's like, what?
They go for the giant props. We had the whale in the Gold Coast, of course. And then
yes.
Ozzy Osbourne was he in the opening or the closing ceremony? He was in the opening ceremony, wasn't he, Ozzy?
The opening one, I think.
Had you left at that point, or did you see Ozzy, or...
No, I didn't know.
Ah, damn, if he was giving you some passion there. But I mean, was that sort of fun to be able to kind of experience something like that? Obviously, it's a us watching at home, it's a bit different. We're enjoying it as an athlete. It's a much more, strenuous deal for you to go to an opening ceremony. But you talk about being proud to wear the green and gold and all of those kind of aspects of it. I mean, proud moment, no doubt, to walk out into that stadium representing your country and sort of being able to celebrate it.
Yeah, oh, it's great. I mean, I feel like it's a good representation for all the work you put in for those years to kind of come to fruition. So for me, going to the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony was surreal. Just having so many people in that stadium, all cheering for you, walking with all your other fellow Australian teammates. It's an awesome experience, and I think it's something that I'll always cherish forever. It's a shame that at Paris I won't be able to experience that. I'm really bummed about that, to be honest, but I'm just grateful that I'm there, I guess.
Will you do the closing ceremony though?
I think the closing ceremony, we leave on the 12th. So I think if it's before then, we should
it's the 11th. To that. It's on the 11th.
Okay, so it might work out. It might work out then. Well, that'll be cool then. Yeah, that's it. But
it should be able to.
It's not the opening.
No, not quite. But right.
It's okay.
Yeah, at least at closing, you're in a stadium. Whereas not to take away from what we're going to see on the barges and the boats and everything. That might be a very different one. Whereas you're in the Stade de France for the closing ceremony, so you might do that. But actually, before I get to the competition, I wanted to clarify one thing. We spoke about earlier this week on our preview episode with Jamie, sort of talking up weightlifting. He raised the question to me, and I so unpreparedly, because I hadn't done my full research ahead of this interview yet. He was like, didn't Kyle have to do something around changing his weight category? And I'm going like, shit, I'm scrambling. What I think he meant was obviously the Commonwealth Games. You're generally 89 kilo, but for the Commonwealth Games, they didn't have 89, so you had to go down to the 81 kilo. So, Jamie, I'm guessing that's what you meant when you asked me that question. But
that's correct.
I listened to another interview you did, and you sort of explained that you could have gone up 96, if I'm not mistaken, or you could have gone down to 81. So, is it easier to go down a category or easier to go up? And what sort of came about that decision to go down rather than go up to the category at the Commonwealth Games?
I think for the Commonwealth Games, the only focus was to win a medal, gold medal. That's all we were thinking about, because that was realistic based on who was going to be competing at that competition. And the 81 kilo category just made sense. The competitors there, they were strong, but it made sense for me to make the decision to go down to 81 and sacrifice kilograms on my record. Versus the 96s, which was the other category. So it's quite a big jump, 81 to 96. And I was where I still am now, in the middle, around 86, 87. So I wasn't sort of too heavy to not go at 96. I would have had to put on a lot of body weight, but I was also in a position where I could potentially cut down to 81s, which would have helped. So me and my coach Ali made the decision. You know what? We're here for medals. We're here to go to Commonwealth Games to get funding. We're here to obviously get a medal for you, for me, for our country, etc. Let's go down to 81. So we made that decision, which was tough. It was a hard 2 years of training, lots of injuries, lots of niggles. Cutting body weight's not fun. Had to cut body weight 3-4 times in competitions, getting down to 80 kilos on the scale, which was just crazy. Because I'm not, for weightlifting, I'm 177, 178 centimeters. That's very tall for someone that weighs 80 kilos. Most people that are 81s would be 165, 167 centimeters. So yeah, I was definitely pushing the envelope there. But again, it was just for the medals. It was to go there and get a medal. And I'm grateful I did it. Obviously, we still came away with a medal, which is fantastic. If I did go up to the 96s, though, the reason why I didn't is it would have been a lot more challenging. There was much more stronger athletes in that session, Samoan, Canadian, Indian, and they were lifting some pretty big weights. I would have had to hit pretty much new records and more if I wanted to be in the same position. So in hindsight, I think it was the right decision. If I did go up to 96, I probably may have got bronze or maybe not even got anything. So, for me, I think it was a good decision. But yeah.
I need to ask, because again, very casual weightlifter observer on this show, Kyle, course, yeah. But I'd like you to explain to me just why the hell you were robbed of that gold in Birmingham, because you made that lift. Then the judges came out and basically said, no, your arms did not fully extend. Now, explain to me, is this like VAR and soccer where basically they can go to a replay? Because I thought once you lift it, you're done. The green lights are on, the white, whatever they are, the white lights, you're done. You've got the goal. But I didn't realize they could review this and tell me why this is still bullshit 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, it's changed a lot. In 2000, I don't even know when the rule changed. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they never used to have a video ref sort of They never used to have like an analysis of the lift where they could pause it frame by frame, absolutely root you because they're looking at it in slow-mo, kind of like bring back the benefit of the doubt. You know?
I know.
But anyway, they didn't have that. I can't remember what year it was, but basically, if you got granted 3 white lights or 2, because in weightlifting, there's 3 judges, all right? If you get 2 reds, no lift. If you get 2 whites or 1 red, it's still a good lift, all right? As long as it's majority. So I got 3 white lights when I did it. Like the immediate review, as soon as I dropped it, I looked, they said 3 white lights. I started celebrating. I'm like, great, like this is awesome. You know, so immediately I'm like, well, if 3 international level referees, they would obviously have to do a lot of bloody training to get to a Commonwealth Games to referee at a peak 81 kilo session. You know, you'd have to not be an idiot, let's be real, to do that, okay? But they all gave me 3 white lights. So I'm like, all right, well, sweet, let's go, you know? And then they stop it and then they reviewed it and they said, no, it's a no lift, like that. But I think what frustrated with me was the fact that the immediate in-time reaction was, it's 3 white lights. I knew within myself it was a press out. So here's the technicalities of weightlifting, all right? When you have a barbell over your head, your arms have to fully extend. They can't lock and interlock. It has to be one clean lockout, okay? If you shake a little bit and the tricep extends or the elbow moves around, it's a no lift. It has to look clean, okay? I just tell people that don't understand it, it's just got to look like a clean lift. Like the elbow's just got to stay in one spot. That's all I say. Yep. My right elbow didn't. Sorry, my left elbow, I think it was. My left elbow didn't. And I had lots of cortisone injections in that left wrist actually going into the game. So I wasn't very strong on that side. So I kind of knew that could be something that could potentially come up. But anyway, so it didn't fully extend. It was technically a press out. I was just more bummed out that the real-time feedback was, no, you've done it. Good job. Celebrate. And then 20 seconds later, no, let's completely pull that away from him and make him hard.
So what you're saying is you kind of knew it should have not been a legal, but like given the fact that they ruled it 1, you at that point were like, fuck it, who cares?
Look, when you're, exactly. And when you're at that elite level, you get taught to just fake it till you make it, right? Like, even if you know you haven't done it correctly, look, if you're celebrating, you're on the platform, don't let anyone know that. Don't, like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do a lift that could potentially change my life. It's to win a Commonwealth Games gold medal. Like, this hasn't happened in years for an Australian athlete. Like, oh my God, it's going to be such a big deal. And then just go, I pressed, Like, I'm not going to tell them that. You know what I mean? Like, so
that's why soccer players are such good actors, right? Because my leg, it's totally a foul. It wasn't. Okay, move on. I'm like,
I need to go do soccer. Maybe I need to go do change.
I didn't realize this existed in weightlifting. Now I'm going to watch this so differently in Paris. I love it.
Yeah, and they will be quite strict in Paris, like with the refereeing and stuff. And I was just frustrated. I was bummed out that the real time it was good, and I got that moment. I can't explain those 10, 15 seconds. Like, it was crazy. I was just like,
wow. But, which does that make it then when you're standing on the podium? And obviously, you know, all the disappointment and everything.
It ruined the experience, honestly. It absolutely ruined the experience for me, straight up. Like, I was in a euphoric state. Like, I'd achieved what I've gone to set out. I've won the Commonwealth Games gold medal. Like, this is huge. Like, for a weightlifter, this is going to equal so much for me. It's going to change, but like, that's what I thought at the time. And then for them to just take that away, I was just salty. Like, who
did they pay off to do this? Come on, who do I speak to? Come on.
And I think as well, like the competitor that won was upon me.
In England as well. Bullshit. Come on, rigged. You know. Yeah. And I think that was at the point when like they were getting closer to us on the gold table. So like, you know, we've got to catch Australia because you know.
And apparently one of his lifts, my friends were sending it to me after. I watched it. It was a press out. So it's a bit subjective. You know what I mean? But again, I'm like, good on him. Like, he smashed it. Like, he rocked up to that comp and he was determined. He came in with a goal and he smashed it. Like, he shaped up. Like, I did not expect him to do that, Chris. But like, he's a tank and we're good friends. Like, he's a cool guy. But yeah, no, I was very upset. But it's all good. We're over it now.
Well, until some podcast host brings it up to you in the lead up to an Olympics. But I think, I mean, at the end of the day, though, going back to the fact that you were merged from these Commonwealth Games with a nice new nickname, people seemingly know who you are a lot more. I mean, it's kind of... Yep. What was like the gram like, the social media? Did it sort of like, cause you had to put it down for like a week and then eventually slowly respond? Because I can imagine a lot of people were reaching out to you after that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good on socials. Like I responded to people straight away. Like, I was back on socials. I put a post up straight away. Like, you know, just told everyone it's all good. Like, sport, it happens. I think the hardest thing was recomposing myself in real time when it happened in after the competition. You know, having the realization that, okay, this has happened. This is never going to change. Like, this is the facts right now. This is history. You've lost it. It's not happening anymore. You need to now switch and accept that and go up to Chris and shake his hand. Be a good sportsman. Do what you got taught from a young age to do. Even if things don't go your way, be a good person. Be a role model for younger people. You know what I mean? So that was hard for me because, man, like as an athlete, like I'm competitive. I want to win. You know what I mean? So for me, I kind of like, man, the emotions, I was in the corner crying, and then I was angry, and then I wanted to like go off with the officials. Like I was just all over the shop, you know what I mean? But you just had to sort of bring it back in, come down to earth, realization, acceptance, and then just go from there. So I felt like I composed myself fairly well for the media, which was good, luckily.
Well, I think that's the beauty of dealing with athletes in different situations, because doing what I'm doing right now, you and I are sitting here, we're having a nice Wednesday morning, we're chilling, it's cool, it's relaxed. But like I've also been in situations where I've been on the field or the pitch and I'm interviewing, athletes at the midst of disappointment, the midst of celebration. They've just won a championship, they've just lost a grand final. Like, it's completely different. So for you, they're obviously being interviewed, your emotions, you're different to what are right now. So, and that's, again, the beauty of sport, the beauty of experiencing stories from all athletes is kind of seeing it. You can reflect on it now, but of course, 2 years ago, if I'm speaking to you, it's going to be a very different conversation you and I are having right now.
100%. Yeah. Oh, completely. That's it. Yeah. No. But it was a good, I feel like it was very character building for me. It made me realize that, I can get to that pinnacle, it not work out, but that's okay. And I can work around that. You know what I mean? So it was a good thing for me, I think, in the long run. So yeah, no, it was good.
I loved hearing in the interview I listened to that you said that you just carried the medal with you in your gym bag, I think, at that point. Do you still just carry it with you, like, or have you put it somewhere a little bit more now?
Yeah, it's just in my gym bag.
Just in your gym bag? Oh, what's this here? Oh, it's a Commonwealth Games silver medal. How did that get in there?
Just in my training bag. Yeah, no, it's good. It's like a visual reminder of what I've achieved in the sport and what I'll try to continue to achieve, and what's been done and what I can continue to do. So. Yeah, it's just good visual representation for me. Yeah, I love it.
Fast forward, I mean, you touched on, obviously, you felt maybe you didn't want to do it anymore. You sort of then pushed towards Paris. Let's fast forward to that moment when you were officially confirmed. Obviously, we do the great announcement for the AOC. They get you all there. They give you the ticket and everything. But by that point, pretty much all athletes know they're there. You're just waiting to be officially confirmed. But the moment you knew that you were going to the Olympics, was that kind of like a relief, like kind of an achievement, like, or was it just, well, job's not done now, I've just got to prepare for this and show the world what I'm made of now?
It was good. It was good. It's good to be given some credit. Fun to get the recognition for obviously qualifying the team. Obviously, we knew like 2.5 months before the official announcement that was what has happened. It was more just waiting for the formalities, and it's kind of annoying those 2 months though before, because your close friends and your family know you've qualified, but they're not allowed to say anything. You can't post anything on social media, you can't message any friends, or you can't book any tickets or anything like that, because it's not official, right? I mean, there's so many things that can happen from that time. So I had so many people going, yo, what's happening? Are you going to Paris? Like, oh, I just saw the International Weightlifting Federation update the 89 kilo rankings. You got the quota spot. What's all this about? Like, it's like, just chill out, bro. Like, it'll come, relax, And no, it was when the announcement came, it was great. It was good. It was just good to sort of like tell everyone publicly, yep, qualified for Olympics, something I've been trying. You guys know my story and my journey from obviously Birmingham to now, and I'm thankful for everyone to being on my side, supporting me since then. So yeah, it was a very good feeling. Yeah, 100%.
And you guys do a cool few things since then. I know you recently had a school visit. You got to go there when they launched the livery of the Qantas jet. I mean, must be fun to be able to kind of now, again, go out there, use the platform, sell the sport a little bit.
Yeah, it's good. It's good and bad, to be honest. Like, it's good because you've made the Olympics, you qualified, and with that comes, a lot of opportunities, right? Like, I get opportunities, like I get to, go for the AOC to Qantas. I'm going to ASICS next week to do this. I'm doing all these cool things like that. But I find as well, like, the hard part is when you're in the trenches 18 months before trying to qualify, when no one's there. You've got your coach, my partner, my close friend circle and family like that. That's really about it. You know what I mean? And they're the people that get you over the line. Those small supporters at home that you know and you trust, they're the people that will get you over the line. I find when you get to that point, that like, you're happy as an athlete, they're happy for you like that. But it's like the point before that is more important. The grind time where, you're underground, no one knows what's going on. That's the part that's more important. You know what I mean? So it's good. But I feel like sometimes it can be a little superficial.
It's also, I can imagine, a distraction. Because it's sort of like, as you're saying, you're training for 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all of a sudden you've got to go spend 3 hours out standing in front of a plane. Again, not to take away from that opportunity. I'm not here to shit over Qantas or anything, but it's a distraction in a way sometimes too.
Yeah, no, it can be, 100%. But I'll always put something like that. That's a great opportunity. You know, any exposure for myself, my business, obviously the sport of weightlifting, anything like that is good. So anything like that, I'll definitely put forward like that. I'm very flexible with my training. Like, I'm grateful that I own a business. I can kind of choose when I want to work and when I don't want to work, etc. I work mainly online. Obviously, I work in person as well with people, teaching them weightlifting, but I'm flexible. I do my own schedule, my own business owner, entrepreneur like that. So I can sort of, me and my partner, we can do what we want. So I'm easily available to do those events and stuff, which is great. So it works well. It's not like I have, practice from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. I can't do that. When the AOC is saying, hey, you can go out here and we'll pay you for it. All right, let's do it. I've got 25K to pay back. So let's give me more things.
and then you might just be there at that Qantas day and be, loosely saying to the Qantas representatives, hey, like business class on the way to Paris. What do you reckon? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Come on. Want some free weightlifting sessions? Like, come on. I can help you there. Just also quickly, so in the lead up to Paris, I know you and I were talking about this off air, but sort of what's the plan? Because you sort of arrive a little bit later in Paris. You're not sort of, your competition's obviously at the back end of the schedule, but tell us a bit sort of between now and Paris, kind of when do you get there, the plan, all that sort of stuff?
So we're getting there on the 2nd of August. So I believe I'm leaving either the 31st of July or the 1st of August. And competition's on the 7th of August. So I'm there for like 5-6 days before I compete, which is good. So it gives me a bit of time to prepare. Obviously, nice different weather. It's very cold in Sydney right now. I know people are probably thinking, what do you mean it's cold in Sydney? Like,
as a Tasmanian, even I'm cold at the moment, Kyle. I'm saying this is compared to last year, this is a cold winter in Sydney. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it is. It's freezing, literally. But yeah, it'll give us some time to get over there and acclimatize a little bit and then get out there on the 7th and just have some fun. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Is it, I mean, I know you haven't experienced it yet. This might be a question you can't answer, but like given that the Olympics obviously are going to be on before you leave, so you're going to be here in Australia and seeing like all the publicity, the opening ceremony, all those early sort of, competitions. Is it something that you feel will get you more excited or more of a distraction? You're like, I just want to be there, or like, this has amped me up more now that I'm getting on that plane and I'm going to be competing with these people that I'm seeing on TV right now.
Yeah, I think like it'll be exciting. Like, it'll be cool to see that. It'll be like, wow, I'm actually going there. Like, that's really cool. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I might get a bit of FOMO, but it'll be good to know that rest assured I will be there. So
Exactly. And before we get to our final questions, sort of wrap it up, you've touched on your business a few times. Tag it. Tell us about your business. What can people look up and what can people hire you to do after the Olympics and, get them to the next Olympics? Who knows?
Yeah, 100%. Uplift Gym. So we're a weightlifting facility. We coach people in just Olympic weightlifting. So we teach beginners, intermediate to advanced lifters. We have national level athletes. We have people that just picked up the barbell, so have people from all spans of ages, masters, juniors, youth, seniors, etc. We just everything weightlifting. So we have a PT studio in Lidcombe, and that's where we teach people how to do weightlifting. We also have like online coaching options, ebooks. We're going to be launching subscription-based programming after the Olympics when I actually have time to do it. But lots of big things coming. So, if you guys are in Sydney, you want to learn weightlifting from experienced coaches that like weightlifting, like myself, come on out to Uplift Gym.
Great. And there's a Lidcombe right near Olympic Park too. So is that sort of, was that a legacy of the Olympics kind of, or was that there before? Do you know? Or?
Yeah, just my partner's mum's house. So it's just down the side. Yeah.
There you go.
It's good though. Like it's a fully set up elite facility. Like that's where I'm training full time for the Olympics. So I think it's suited. So no, it's good. It's near, it's close to Olympic Park, Lidcombe Station. It's 5-10 minute walk, so it's super close. It's convenient.
Next time I'm out at Olympic Park and I'm connecting in Lidcombe, I'm just going to take a moment to be like, Carl's around here right now training for the Olympics. Like this
there you go.
The suburb of Lidcombe just became a little bit more special to me, essentially. There you go. I like that. There you go. Now, Carl, we wrap up every single interview with a set of get to know. So actually, before I do, sorry, I haven't introduced you to one thing. Cherry, our mascot. Ben, don't be so rude. This is our podcast mascot, Cherry. As the first weightlifter to see Cherry, how do you think Cherry would go in weightlifting? He's got a few more limbs on the lower side, so I don't know if that would help or hinder him, but would he be good at weightlifting?
His arms are pretty small. I think Cherry needs to do a bit more training, but
yeah. He's a bit weak, and I don't know how the leg will do him there. But he does come with a gold medal already. So
that's there you go. He's already done it.
I don't know, but you can sit on him, but in between like your lifts as a bit of training. But inspirational. Can he inspire you for Paris, Kyle?
I'm very inspired. Thank you, Cherry.
You're welcome. All right, thank you, Cherry, for that. You can go sit back over there for the next interview. Interview questions that we do at the end here. So essentially, Team Canada asked all their athletes ahead of Pyeongchang and Rio a questionnaire that they put on their website. This is what we use. I generally try to use a questionnaire from the same sport, but they did not ask any weightlifters any questions ahead of Rio. So I've gone with the great gymnast that is Rosie McLennan, because you used to do gymnastics. So I felt that kind of connected it. Optional drawing element, Kyle. You don't have to. But they asked their athletes to draw a picture of themselves, draw a picture of a teammate, draw a Canadian animal, could be an Australian animal. If you want, how's your drawing? Do you like to draw at all, or
terrible?
Terrible. All right. Optional. Again, if you feel the need, you can. Otherwise, just completely ignore that. I'm going to start with your first question, though. Who to you is the greatest Olympian of all time?
My coach.
Your coach. Yes. There you go. I like that.
Not results-wise, but it's my coach. That's it.
Exactly.
That's personal.
No, I like it when people go down that route. I love that. Yeah. You kind of answered this before, but the first Olympics you remember watching was?
Well, Beijing. It would have been Beijing. Would have been the first Olympics I watched. But I was 1 year old when Sydney 2000 was on. But that would have been cool to watch that. But yeah, Beijing 2008. Yep.
2008. Okay. This is my scary part about asking that question now to our guests is that I really start to feel old when people are now we've had people go, I remember watching Rio, I think. And I'm like, oh God, I'm old. My first Olympics, I remember watching your coach was at. So, Barcelona. I remember Barcelona. Wow. So that ages me. I was 5. I wasn't old, but like I was. Anyway. Wow. If you could be, I mean, you kind of are a superhero. You're a weightlifter, but let's say this, if you could be any other superhero, who would you be?
That's a great question. I would probably be Flash, so I can be fast.
Yes. You don't need to be strong. You're already strong. You just want to be fast.
I just want to be faster. That's it.
Fast and strong. I like that. Your favorite ice cream flavor is?
Simple, man. Chocolate. That's it.
Yes. Got to go simple sometimes, right? Are you allowed to have cheat days or after the Olympics?
I'm pretty crazy. I'm very healthy all around like that. I can make time for that.
Yeah, okay. You need to have a bit of chocolate ice cream in the way there. If you were a baseball player, what would your walk-up music be?
Man, I'd be putting on some old school rap, maybe like Dr. Dre, maybe like DMX, something like that. Something to get me in that hyped up zone, something like that, I reckon.
Nice. Are there competitions where you can have walk up music when you go up to lift? Like, is there events like that?
I think so. It was funny, at the Commonwealth Games, I didn't even know, but I was walking down, they're playing like 1-4, like hooligan hefts, like they're playing like Australian drill music whilst I was walking out. I'm like, all right.
Okay, this works. All right, there you go. We've kind of answered this. The best nickname you've ever been given.
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty. We can't top that. So we've answered that one. If you weren't an athlete, what would you be?
Ooh, man. I honestly think it'd be something to do with either maybe teaching, maybe you could do something like in teaching, or something with business, like entrepreneur, something. It wouldn't be weightlifting, but it would be something in sport. I don't know.
Okay. I like that. Your guilty pleasure snack is?
Oh man, honestly, I love Pizza Hut.
Oh, yes.
Peaky. It's just so bad for you, but it's just so good. And you eat it and you feel terrible after, but don't worry about that. Just enjoy the moment.
See, I'm that way with McDonald's. Every now and then I have to have some sneaky Maccas because it's just something about it. I don't know if this is like you were of age when they still existed. Did you ever have the all-you-can-eat Pizza Huts growing up?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, there was one out in Windsor, actually, near where I was growing up like that. Yeah, they had one out there, yeah.
They're great because I think one of the only few that exist still is in Hobart, and it was right near our high school growing up. And our teachers would often reward us, like, if you can go to all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut. But
that would be so fun, yeah.
They would always put out the trashy pizza, right? It wasn't the best of their pizzas, but it was still good. It was still
good. It was still good.
Yeah, all you can eat pizza. Good days. Your most recent TV show that you binge watched is?
Ooh, what did I watch recently? Mindhunters on
Okay.
Netflix. I don't know if it's like a psychological thriller kind of thing like that. Yeah, my partner loves all the true crime documentaries and
Okay.
stuff.
There you go. And your next movie, though, is going to be Bruce Almighty. Got to finally
There you
watch
go.
it. So that's one there. Your favorite place in the world to compete is?
Favorite place in the world to compete? That's a great question. I really liked competing at I like competing in Thailand, Phuket. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that was a good experience.
They love weightlifting there, don't they, in Thailand?
They do.
So
It's huge.
I can
It's
imagine
huge.
passionate crowd there, I can imagine as well.
Yeah,
So,
it's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
yeah, fantastic. Your biggest fear in life is? Here's a deep question. That came out of nowhere.
Biggest fear in life. Damn.
Yeah.
Sounds cliche. Dying.
Dying. I like it when people answer that because, as I always say when somebody answers that, I think we've all got that fear. We just try to put it in the back of our mind, don't we? You know what I mean?
It's inevitable, but we just don't know when.
It's like we can say spiders, we can say snakes, you can say whatever you want, but like we've all got that one there. This one isn't on the list, but I'm going to end on with this question because I always love asking this question. It's open to interpretation. When you were a child, Kyle, what was one thing you always thought?
Yeah, wow. We're going deep here.
But the beauty of this one is you can go deep. Like I'll give you an example. Somebody literally answered this question. I was always hungry. That's what they always thought as a child. So,
Right.
you know, you can take it deep or you can take, I don't know, like if anything comes to mind.
I think when I was a kid, I think all I would think about was, honestly, like it kind of links back to being an athlete. So I always had to try really hard in anything that I did. Like, why did I always have to try so hard to get something? You know, like nothing ever just came to me like that. I had to always work hard for something. So I think it was always like, why do I have to always try so hard to achieve things? Why do I have to try harder than other kids to get what I want? That's what I'm trying to say.
I like it. That works out perfectly. Kyle, mate, before we let you go, you tagged the business, but Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere people can follow you between now and Paris?
Yeah. Just mainly on Instagram, Kyle Bruce 89, on TikTok, Kyle Bruce 90, and on YouTube, my YouTube channel as well. Been posting regular content vlogs from training sessions leading up to Paris. So I've been doing that every fortnight, every week like that. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Business page, Uplift Gym. Yeah, that's it.
I gotta ask, why 89 on Instagram and 90 on TikTok?
There is no reason for that. I just decided to go 90 on TikTok. You know what? You know what it was when TikTok first came out. I think I downloaded in like 2019 or 18. I was like, I had this obsession with wanting to be 90 kilos. I'm like, I want to be 90 kilos. I want to be 90 kilos. So that was like, you know what, Cobra 90. And then at the time there was no 89 kilo weight class. It used to be 85, 94, 105. And then all of a sudden the 89s came out. So then obviously I made Instagram 89 and that just stuck with 90.
I was just thinking that if you started a Twitter, you were going to be like Harbour's 91. Then, Fred's 92. Like it's just,
maybe.
It's a progression like situation there. Kyle, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. We wish you all the best of luck for Paris and everything. Thank you so much for being so open with us and honest. It's been such a great
100%.
chat, and we'll get you back on after the Olympics and we'll learn all about your experiences in Paris.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I love it. Appreciate it. Thanks.